Hello all and welcome to a beer review, which I'm going to dub the unexpected beer review. I know I said I was going to go and review the rest of these Goses, you know, as an after work review, but today is very hot, windless, and humid. Honestly, I would rather drink a light beer rather than something that's wood barrel aged and very high ABV in this weather. You ever wonder why I don't do very many barrel aged beers? It's basically because I live in Hawaii, where it is very rarely, you know, it very rarely ever feels right to drink something that heavy. And I'm going to try to do it right today, and I'm going to use two different glasses, just so it's not as problematic in regards to the head. So what are we reviewing today? Well, first the two reviews for today, because they're Goses, they're light, they're refreshing, they're 4.2 ABV. 4.2 ABV, yes indeedy. This is the Cherry Gose from the variety pack from Anderson Valley. And let's go look at the description here. Montmorency. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be pronouncing this in like the French way or in like the English sort of way. Montmorency sour cherries from Michigan. This kettle soured beer is a melange of flavor aromas. Bright cherry flavors mingle with salty tartness of the Gose to create a uniquely complex and refreshing drink experience. Okay, so yeah, ball horning since 1987. Let's just go and pour this out, shall we? Just pouring it into my tumbler glass, which I'm going to try to avoid showing the branding because it gets confusing when you show the branding on the glass. Okay, so almost a yellow-orange peach color. Slightly peachy, slightly hazy, very well carbonated, with a sort of off-white, with the head, fizzy off-white head with a peach overtone to it. Yes, you definitely get sour cherries. You know, some wet rock minerality. You don't really catch any of the wheat malt in the nose with this particular one, but definitely a bit bolder fruit profile in the nose than in, say, like the briny melon one. Okay, onto the palate now, shall we? So the finish is like much of the other Anderson Valley Gose finishes, kind of wheat and funk, with a very subtle top note of the cherry, in this case. Again, despite lots of visible carbonation, not too much carbonation bite on the palate. It's kind of hard to suss out the tartness of the cherries from just the tartness of the sourness of the beer. You definitely get the cherry in the top note as you're drinking it, but it is very difficult to kind of suss out on the palate. The minerality on the palate is pretty much up front. There's a very subtle, odd, like coppery note to it that emerges in the mids. It's not too strong. It's just something I've never really encountered before. Mm. Yeah, so as it warms up, I'm getting a little bit of the cherry on the palate, but again, mostly the top note, especially in the mids. It's not as distinct as the other Goses I've had, where the various elements that comprise the beer, kind of stood out each in their own way. This one's a lot more mushy. By no means is it, bad tasting or what have you. It's just not as sharp and distinct in its flavor profile as the other um, Gozas from Anderson Valley that I've tried. So, you know, while I don't say this is bad or turn it down by any means, it's not as good, um, as the other ones. That said, again, you can tell the cherry flavor is a real cherry flavor. It doesn't stand out as much as, say, like the watermelon or the rose hips did. Um, but it's definitely there. You sense it. It just doesn't unmesh itself from the rest of the sourness of the beer. As it warms up even more, I'm kind of noticing a salty note in the long finish. Unsurprisingly, usually I don't catch like just a salty note from a Gose. I get more of a mineral note, but this one's definitely more of a salty note in the finish. Obviously on the palate. Yeah, I have to say the top note is where it shines out the best, I have to say. Okay, Cherry Gose from Anderson Valley Brewing Company. Well, I mean, when it comes to sours, beggars can't be choosers for those of us here in Hawaii. So, yeah, I definitely go for this again. Some people might balk at the price, considering especially since these are light sessionable beers. But you know what? It's a sour. Sours cost more, and not every beer should be judged on its ABV. So, gonna polish this off really quickly and then come back and do another review. Cheers.